Hello and welcome to PMQs with Graham Hughes. I'm Graham Hughes. Here's the PMQs. They're talking at the moment, but this is Scotland office questions. So while we're waiting for them to finish yakking on whatever they're talking about, they're delivering apparently. All the delivered. Gallifreyan Ren. It only feels like an hour ago. Yeah, I get that. Diz is in there. We've also got SG. If you'd like to join in the conversation as we watch PMQs together, hit the subscribe button, wait for 1 minute, and you will be able to opine fairly openly. Just don't be insulting to us. You can be insulting to the people on the screen if you like. Don't really care about that. But yes, they're still putting questions to the... Okay, the question is... Oh, hang on. Oh, that was the wrong one. What discussions are taking place on funding for tertiary education? Fun stuff, obviously. What else have we got? I'm clicking the like, but not watching the pantomime. Fair enough, Billy. Feeling somewhat fortified from a full stomach, although still troubled by the complaints made against me. Got a headache setting in. I'm sorry about that, Ren. That's just out of order. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit like, oh, I'm not having a good time with it. Okay. Fair enough, but you don't have to drag other people down and like say, oh, well, someone else getting all the attention. I'm like, especially when you're part of a community that are certainly not getting. Well, you are getting attention, but not the sympathetic kind. Don't worry about the complaints, Ren. Most of us think, no, you're doing the Lord's work. Yeah, I agree with Robot King there. Now, Badenoch should be able to score a goal today. Surely today is the day that she can actually score a goal against Keir Starmer. I mean, if she can't, I mean, this is nothing down for her. Like, honestly, it's got to a point now where it's bordering on the sublime. They haven't started yet. I was here. 12 o'clock. They're still talking. Still, Kirsty McNeil's still talking. She's still talking. Oh, here we go.
Lincoln John.
What?
Question number one, Mr. Speaker.
Question number one. Ooh.
Mr. Speaker, can I start by condemning, in the strongest possible terms, the sickening repression and murder of protesters in Iran?
In America. Oh, sorry, yeah.
The contrast between the courage of the Iranian people and the brutality of their desperate regime has never been clearer. Mr. Speaker, we've called out this brutality face to face. We're working with allies on further sanctions and doing all we can to protect UK nationals. Mr. Speaker, time and again, under the party opposite,
no sphere
towns
lance,
and cities across the north were failed. Today, this Labour government delivers change. A major new rail network across the north and a new northern growth strategy. That is the renewal that this country voted for. This morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Exciting stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks, particularly about Iran? Visiting schools in my Spelthorne constituency is one of the great joys of this job. So I was frankly appalled to hear that the Labour Member of Parliament for Bristol North East was prevented from visiting a school in his constituency because he is Jewish. This is anti-Semitism, and it is happening
what happened
in plain
after
sight.
digging into this.
With all due respect,
Gallifreyan Ren, good point.
I don't want
well made.
to know how he feels about this. I want to know what he's going to do about it.
Prime Minister. Can I start by thanking him for raising this case, because it is very serious, very concerning. And all members of Parliament should be able to visit anywhere in their constituency, schools or other places, without any fear of anti-Semitism. We do take this seriously. We're providing more funding for security and support we're putting in across the country, and we will be holding those to account who prevented this visit to this school.
Annalise Midgley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for his commitment to delivering the Hillsborough Law. But it has been proven that following the Manchester Arena bombings, MI5 spent 6 years misleading the public and concealing information. There was no risk to national security because it was a closed hearing. So will the Prime Minister deliver justice for those families and confirm that this government will bring forward an amendment that will make robust the duties and responsibilities of Canada for all parts of the state, including individuals in the security services, so we can finally say, never again?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank my honourable friend? The Hillsborough law will right wrongs of the past, changing the balance of power to ensure the state can never hide from the people it should serve. And I would like to acknowledge, Mr. Speaker, I think some of the families are in the gallery with us here today, and I will be meeting them later on this afternoon. I've always been clear the duty of candour applies to the intelligence services. I made a commitment we wouldn't water down the bill, and the amendments we put forward strengthen it. It is right that there are essential safeguards in place to protect national security, and we've got that balance right. I will meet the families and we'll outline the next steps on Monday in relation to that crucial balance.
We come to the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch.
And happy birthday to Larry the Cat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I agree with the Prime Minister's comments on Iran? Today, Irfan Soltani faces execution for protesting in Iran, and I'm sure the whole House will be united in condemning this. Our thoughts are with him and his family and the brave protesters fighting for their freedom against an evil regime. Mr. Speaker, I know the Home Secretary will be making a statement today on the West Midlands Police. The first thing that she should be announcing is the sacking of the Chief Constable. And I thank the member for West Suffolk for relentlessly pushing this issue. Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the Prime Minister's latest U-turn? I feel like I say that every week. Mandatory digital ID was a rubbish policy, and we on this side of the House are glad to see the back of it. But yesterday, the Health Secretary said the Prime Minister's New Year's resolution should be, and I quote, to try to get it right first. To try to get it right first time.
Funny, because she didn't get it right first time. Oh, she said it 3 times.
Yes, you did say that.
You didn't get it right first time there.
My question is, does he agree?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm determined to make it harder for people to work illegally in this country, and that's why there will be checks, they will be digital, and they will be mandatory. And I'll tell her what this government is doing, whether on planning, child poverty, employment rights, investing in our NHS, we're taking the right choices for Britain, and they oppose every single one of them. And she talks about U-turns and
That was a
consistency.
disaster.
From the party that used to recognise the challenge of climate change, and now they run from it. Who promised to cut immigration, but then lost control of it. Who once took great pride in our diversity. Now they talk of deporting our neighbours to achieve cultural coherence. And Mr. Speaker, on consistency, don't get me started on 5 Prime Ministers, 6 Chancellors, 8 Home Secretaries, 16 Housing Ministers. They had more positions in 14 years than the Kama Sutra. No wonder they're knackered and they left the country screwed.
I'm sorry, but he just wiped the floor with
A
her.
lot of waffle, Mr. Speaker, but it's still a U-turn. The member for Hull East has said...
He just wiped the floor with you.
interesting,
How
Mr.
did she
Speaker,
not win that?
Labour MPs must think very carefully before defending policy decisions
How did she not
publicly.
win that?
He said, and I quote, "This stuff leaves us looking really stupid." I'm sorry to tell him, but Labour MPs have been looking stupid for a long time. But let's look, Mr. Speaker.
Jesus
Mr. Speaker.
Christ.
Let's look at some other things the Prime Minister didn't get right first time, starting with the family farms tax. Some farmers were so terrified they sold their farms last year only for the Prime Minister to U-turn 2 days before Christmas. Will he apologise for the misery he's caused countless farmers?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the principle we put in place on inheritance tax is the right one. We listened, we made an asterisk. But what we're doing is turning the country around. Yes, we've changed the country. We've changed the failed approach of the last Tory government. They crashed the economy and sent mortgage rates through the roof. They left millions stuck on NHS waiting lists. They presided over the worst Parliament for living standards on record. Now we're turning that around. We're changing that. Inflation and interest rates are coming down.
That answered the question.
Waiting lists are coming down. Wages are up more in the first year of a Labour government
This is
than 10 years of the
quite
Tory government.
this is quite
but
Johnson-esque.
I understand, Mr. Speaker, that she's taking advice on change. She had Nadhim Zahawi in to ask his advice how to change and how to save her party. Please don't tell me she listened to his accountant. Next day after the advice, he jumped ship to reform, the 23rd former Tory MP to do so. I don't know which is more pitiful, the flood of former Tory MPs deserting her sinking ship, or the Reform Party so desperate to launder any old failed Tory politician.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister doesn't need to worry about me. I'm all right. And
Sorry, I didn't mean for the clown to come up on Badenoch there.
And I didn't
was
hear
just
an
setting it up for later.
apology. I didn't hear an apology to the farmers. Has he even apologised to the member for Penrith, who stood up for farmers only to have the whip removed? This Prime Minister treats his MPs so badly, they follow his lead, and he hangs them out to dry every time. Let's turn to another area the Prime Minister has got wrong.
Okay.
His budget doubled business rates for thousands of pubs. So can the Prime Minister tell us, is there going to be any change to his business rates policy?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with the sector to ensure that they get the support.
Do you know what? If Labour want to know what questions she's going to ask, they just need to look on the front cover of the Telegraph today. Like, this is all on the front cover of the Telegraph. Like, she just makes it so easy to bat this stuff away. Now, like, the last question, he didn't answer that properly at all. He used it as an excuse to grandstand and say how great Labour is and how crap the Tories are, which is quite Boris Johnson-like, you know. But her fluffing that first question, she should have come out the gate and fucking demolished him. She should have humiliated him. He fucking deserves it. She's so shit at this.
Their name. I have to say, the Leader of the Opposition's newfound concern for pubs will come as a surprise to anyone who remembers the 7,000 pubs that were closed under the Tories. And as Business Secretary, she didn't say a word about it. So we support business, we also support workers, Mr. Speaker. And that's why we passed our Employment Rights Act. And on Mr. Speaker, on Monday, the Business Secretary and I went to Croydon to discuss our Employment Rights Act with workers there. They were very keen on the paternity rights and the maternity rights, which I know the Leader of the Opposition opposes. And whilst we were there at IKEA, they showed me their new prototype, the IKEA Shadow Cabinet. The trouble is, nobody wants to buy it. It's mainly constructed of old dead wood. And every time you lose a nut, it defects to reform.
Mr. Speaker, he didn't answer the question
No, he
about
didn't.
business rates.
But
It sounds like
he
he
stuck the
doesn't
knife
know
in,
what
didn't he?
his policy is. And this has been a farce from start to finish. On Monday, the Business Secretary said the Chancellor did not even realise the impact of her business rates policy. No surprise there. But yesterday, the Tax Office said that they did tell the government what the impact would be. So can the Prime Minister be clear? Did he understand the impact of his own policy on pubs?
Okay, that's a decent question.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with the sector. She hasn't explained why she said nothing about the 7,000 pubs that close on her watch. We're doing other things on the cost of living to help people, to make sure they can get out, to spend money in pubs and hospitality, boosting the minimum wage. What did they do? They opposed it. Freezing rail fares and prescription charges. What did they do? They opposed it. £150 off energy bills. What did they do? They opposed it. She said nothing when pubs were closing, and she opposes every measure now. And she said a moment ago, I'm all right. She clearly didn't listen to the advice of Nadhim Zahawi, because what he told her, he's now made fun of. He told her that they failed on mass migration, they failed on our armed forces, and he told her that she's leading, his words, a defunct brand the nation can no longer trust. No wonder he's joined the Tory migration to reform. Mr. Speaker, it's the second Boris wave.
Mr. Speaker, I asked him if he understood the impact of his own policy. He didn't say yes. The reason he U-turns all the time is because he is clueless. He is blowing around like a plastic bag in the wind, no sense of direction whatsoever. And let's be clear, Mr. Speaker, this mess goes beyond pubs. The whole of the hospitality industry, cafes, hotels, restaurants, they're all being clobbered by Labour's tax hikes. There is an answer to this. Conservatives would abolish business rates for small businesses on the high street. Mr. Speaker, yes, they're all chuntering. He's already agreeing with us on family farms tax. He's already agreeing with us on
they've still
digital
got
ID.
they've still got the inheritance tax. It's just a higher level.
Rates for the high street.
It's a higher threshold before you have to pay it. That's all.
They crashed the economy, and now they want to give lectures. She's wondering why nobody's
taking lectures.
Nobody is ever going to listen to them on the economy ever again. Mr. Speaker, in 18 months, because of the decisions we've made, inflation is falling, and the Bank of England say it's coming back down to target. We've had 6 interest rate cuts in a row. Wages are up more in the first year of a Labour government than under the first 10 years of their government, and we beat the forecasts on growth for 2025. We're turning this country around after the appalling mess that they left it in.
Kemi Badenoch.
He says
Last
no
question.
one's going to listen to us. Who's going to listen to him? The winter fuel allowance, U-turn. Waspy women, U-turn. The 2-child benefit cap, U-turn. Grooming gangs inquiry, U-turn. The family farms tax, U-turn. Digital ID, U-turn. Jury trials? U-turn. We hope so. We hope so. I think that's going to be the next one, Mr. Speaker. Week after week, these poor people sitting behind him have to defend the indefensible, only for him to U-turn a few days later. Mr. Speaker, one of his cabinet ministers told a journalist that what's happening at the moment is extraordinarily bad. Another said we've gone through a catastrophic series of missteps. Yet another minister said, we are so unpopular at the moment, I've come to the conclusion it's worth rolling the dice on a new leader. They're right, aren't they?
Mr. Speaker, here's the difference. I changed my party, and that's why we stand here with a majority Labour government. She sits there with her party that lost 2/3 of their MPs at the last election, and she's losing more every week. They're queuing up to join the member of Clacton's laundry service for disgraced Tory politicians. Meanwhile, inflation is down, wages are up, and waiting lists are down. Labour's turning the corner and changing this country for the better.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you will agree, and I hope others across the chamber will also, that we need to recognise and to celebrate achievements. And I say this because across the country, knife crime offences is going down. And of course, more needs to be done and more should be done. But this week's figures have shown...
Listen, I'm just going to turn down the volume on that for a moment, just because I want to talk about what just happened. Like, how did she muck that up? How did she... Even the last question... She framed it really well, doing the whole listing off the U-turns, getting all the people behind her to shout U-turn. That's actually really theatrical, really good, really sticking it to the Prime Minister there. And yet she managed to fluff it on the fucking landing. And she says, well, why didn't you resign? She said, stand up and go, I'm not going to resign. Why you keep asking me if I'm going to resign? Why didn't she get in there with a real question about a real policy that we need an answer on? You know, she sort of said, oh, well, it might be this. Fucking shite. Absolutely bloody awful. How can this man be running rings around the leader of the Conservative Party? Long may she stay in her place. My God.
Using new powers to seize knives and increasing the penalty for selling knives to under 18s. And the party opposite, what did they do? They're chuntering. They voted against those provisions. And what's obvious about London and Reform is they've got a candidate for mayor who doesn't like London, a new ex-Tory recruit who struggled to pay his taxes in this country, and a leader who spends more time in France than in his constituency.
Sir Ed David, leader of the Liberal Democrat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself and my party with the Prime Minister's comments on Iran? And can I encourage him to go even further on sanctions and also prescribe the IRG? Mr. Speaker, Sandra is 71. She has bladder cancer. Just after Christmas, she went into her local A&E. She had to wait 31 hours to be admitted on a plastic trolley and in a plastic chair. Last year, more than 500,000 people waited for over 12 hours in A&E to be admitted, more than any year in the history of the NHS. Mr. Speaker, this corridor care crisis was created by the Conservatives, but it's got worse under Labour. Yeah. So will the Prime Minister end this scandal by taking up our plan to end all 12-hour A&E waits this year?
Brilliant. Great question. Good question. Answer the fucking question. You won't.
To Sandra, that's simply not acceptable for her or for anybody else.
Fucking
I'd
sort it
appreciate
then.
if he passes that on to.
Oh. If only there's something you could do about it. You're only the Prime Minister.
The NHS, so we can turn this problem around, and we are turning it around. I would say to him that he puts forward his plans for change, but he never votes for the increase in investment and the measures that are needed to actually put that into practice. You can't change things without investing in them. You can't call for change and vote against a budget that puts a record investment into the NHS.
Vote for the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, we saw what happened to the last government when they failed to improve the NHS, and if the Prime Minister is not careful, that will happen to his. Mr. Speaker, last month I asked the Prime Minister to get a grip of South East Water, who'd left thousands of people in Royal Tunbridge Wells without water. Now it's happened again, not only in Tunbridge Wells, but in East Grinstead, Burgess Hill, Haywers Heath, and other parts of Kent and Sussex. Families, pensioners, schools, care homes, businesses without any water since Saturday. And the water company bosses involved now stand accused of misleading Parliament over their failures. Mr. Speaker, South East Water keeps failing its customers over and over again. So will the government immediately strip them of their licence?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this, because the situation is clearly totally unacceptable. He will want to know that ministers have chaired daily emergency meetings to hold the company to account, to deliver on the change that's urgently needed at the moment in all the areas that he mentioned. We've also doubled the compensation rates for individuals and businesses, and we're absolutely clear the company must urgently invest in infrastructure, and we'll publish the Water White Paper in due course, but we are holding those daily meetings.
Due
to hold
course,
this
there's a
company
fucking
to
emergency
account.
going on. People don't have fucking water.
Thank you, Mr.
In due
Speaker.
course.
I'm delighted by today's Northern Powerhouse Rail announcement. A down payment on the north of England's future. Fulfilling Lord Blunkett's rail plan for Yorkshire also included upgrades to the Penistone Line train, the spine that connects south to West Yorkshire.
Yeah, Kent is
through
fuck
8
limited, isn't it?
constituencies, serving 500,000 people. When I was growing up, my dad opened Silkstone Common Station as a Dodder councillor. I want my legacy to be 2 trains an hour Tidball for our Penistone line. Will the Prime Minister meet with me to discuss how we can secure funding for the second phase of the Penistone Line upgrade scheme to achieve 2 services an hour?
Prime Minister.
Can I pay tribute to her as a dedicated campaigner on this and so many other issues? And I'm delighted that today we're announcing a transformation in journeys across the north. Of course, it was said and promised many times by the party opposite, but never delivered. We're taking action and delivering. We're working with Kirklees Council to prepare the business case for the first phase of upgrading the line, and I know the Transport Secretary would be happy to discuss the details of that with her.
Robin Swan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. At question time last week, the Prime Minister seemed to intimate that the Government was bringing forward amendments to the Northern Ireland Troubles Bill. Within hours of him saying that, the Irish Government's Minister for Foreign Affairs said that any significant changes must have the full agreement of both governments. So, Mr. Speaker, can I ask the Prime Minister, is he intending bringing forward amendments to a flawed Troubles Bill and give a reassurance that the Irish Government does not have a veto over legislation in this House?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this and tell him I spoke to the Taoiseach in December about this, and I know he's committed to delivering on this. The new legacy unit has been established within the Garda, and I'm confident the Irish Government's other commitments will be delivered as set out in the joint framework. For the first time, information held by the Irish authorities is being shared with a reformed Legacy Commission, meaning more families and victims of terrorism getting information about what happened to their loved ones.
Glendon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the Prime Minister's leadership and our government's clear commitment to tackling child poverty, recognising that high-quality education is one of the best routes out of poverty. However, young people in one of the most deprived areas of my constituency, attending Churchill Community College, have been taught in temporary accommodation for over 16 months. Can the Prime Minister use his good offices to expedite funding from the Department for Education to support rebuilding this school? Thank you.
Prime Minister.
Can I say I'm very proud of what we're doing on child poverty, lifting 500,000 children out of poverty. The party opposite says their policy is to plunge them straight back into poverty, and they should be ashamed of that. The situation she draws my attention to is appalling. Parents and teachers are furious that the party opposite left schools literally crumbling. We invested, Mr. Speaker, £20 billion to rebuild around 800 schools, and our aim is all schools and colleges in England that aren't being fully or substantially rebuilt to be rack-free by the end of the Parliament, and I'll make sure a Minister meets with her to discuss this.
Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I visited Stepping Hill Hospital in my constituency, where I met the incredible team there, but they are working in some of the worst conditions. The staff there showed me the wards where sewage is coming up onto the floors through the drains, and they showed me the ceilings where water is dripping down out onto vital equipment. The hospital itself has a £130 million repair bill, and the Prime Minister is the man that can change this. So will he meet with me, the member for Hazel Grove and the member for Stockport constituency, so we can talk to him about this issue, get some investment in, and then get the hospital that my constituents deserve?
Prime Minister.
I thank him for raising this, and he knows we inherited a terrible situation with waiting lists, performance market
and hospitals falling apart,
and hospitals like Stepping Hill left to crumble. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. I'm pleased the new outpatients building is open, and because of our decisions, the local trust will receive £75 million in capital funding. Progress is being made. His local trust has seen waiting lists fall by almost 3,000. The number of waits over a year is down by 67%. I will make sure he gets the meeting that he wants to discuss the details further.
Emily Darlington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If reports are correct, Elon Musk has climbed down today under pressure from this government. And let's be clear, stripping women naked without consent in real life or online is abuse. But we don't know whether to trust what X is saying today, and this isn't just happening on X. So will the Prime Minister join me and men and women across this House and our nation to say to any app and to any AI company that we will not tolerate and we will enforce any abuse of men, women or children in this country?
Can I thank you for raising this? The actions of Grok and X are disgusting and they're shameful. And frankly, the decision to then turn this into a premium service is horrific. And we're absolutely determined to take action here. We've made it clear that X
has to pay to create your child porn.
And if not, Ofcom has our full backing and will introduce and are introducing legislation. Mr. Speaker, to update the House, I have been informed this morning that X is acting to ensure full compliance with UK law.
Really?
If so, that is welcome, but we're not going to back down. They must act. We will take the necessary measures. We will strengthen existing laws.
Find them for every image.
For legislation, if it needs to go.
Find them for every image.
Will continue its independent investigation.
As someone with a personal experience of AI-generated images, the recent AI images shared on X, particularly those of children, sickens me. Yet, the leader of Reform continues to defend Elon Musk. Anyone who defends platforms linked to sexual exploitation of children forfeits any right to give lectures about protecting women and girls.
He thinks it's
What
funny.
will the Prime Minister do to
fucking
stop
laughing.
any political party from putting tech billionaires ahead of protecting our children?
Just getting rid of
Can I thank her for
god-awful
raising
face
this?
there.
And it's astonishing that Reform defend Musk on this issue.
Yeah,
it is
of course they do.
complete. I said the images are disgusting. Their position is disgusting on this.
Yeah. He thinks
This
it's
is
funny.
weaponising
He thinks it's funny.
images
Look at him,
of
he's
women
laughing.
and
He's always
children
laughing.
that should never be made. And that's why we're acting. Reform not only refused to do anything about it, but more than that, the point she raises, they would scrap the Online Safety Act that stops children
they just think
accessing
it's funny,
content
just having a
like
laugh.
pornography, suicide, self-harm and eating disorders. They're an absolute disgrace and know nothing about protecting children.
Can I just say, we're only on question 18. If we don't want to get MPs in, please, you're going to have to work with me. Kemi Badenoch.
He hasn't offered for someone to go get a cup of tea for so long.
We're appalled to hear Reform MPs oppose the principle of deploying British troops to maintain a peace in Ukraine. Our brilliant armed forces have defended democracy in Europe across a generation, so it is shameful that the leader of Reform opposes that today. That is not leadership, it is surrender. Does the Prime Minister agree that Labour governments always have and always will defend British interests, not those of Russian dictators or oligarchs?
Yeah, here.
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this is a question of values and freedom, I'm proud of the British workers in his constituency, in fact, supporting our Ukrainian allies. Ukrainian soldiers are defending European values on the front line every day. And, Mr. Speaker, in the event of a ceasefire, multinational force will carry out defence and deterrence operations and conduct training, planning, recovery and regeneration of Ukrainian forces. But this week, the leader of Reform said Russia had a casus belli. That means a justification for war in invading Ukraine. A Putin apologist using Russia's talking
laughing about
points.
child pornography. Laughing about child pornography.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The world is becoming more dangerous every single day, and the Ministry of Defence has said it needs an extra £28 billion to keep us safe. Well, I know where the Prime Minister can find it. Stop this nonsense Chagos Island surrender policy and spend that money
that you started?
on protecting the United Kingdom. Will the Prime
That was
Minister
your
commit to
policy.
that, or will he continue to put the interests of foreign governments and countries above our own?
Get back in your bloody amniotic
Garcia
sack.
is a
You
vital
fucking
military base with important
fetus.
capabilities of our own. It's integral to our security. Our decision was welcomed by our allies, the Five Eyes, India and the United States. It was opposed by our enemies, including Russia. Now we can add the Tories to that list and Reform to that list. The Tories following Reform, Reform following Putin.
That's been correction.
He's not wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to offer my condolences to the families of the 4 people who died in the road traffic accident which occurred over the weekend in my constituency. Mr. Speaker, families in Bolton South and Walkden are already benefiting from this Labour government's action on free school meals, free breakfast clubs, 30 hours funded childcare, scrapping of the 2-child limit, taking nearly 500,000 children out of poverty. But in Bolton South and Walkden and across the country, there is a chronic shortage of social housing and genuine affordable homes. Will the Prime Minister now show the same ambition on housing and commit to a major expansion of social housing?
Prime Minister.
Can I just say that my thoughts, and I think the thoughts of the whole House, will be with all those affected by the terrible road traffic accident in her constituency over the weekend, and our thoughts with all of those so awfully impacted. On her question, we are determined to restore the dream of home ownership. That's why there's been £39 billion of investment to deliver the biggest boost in social and affordable housing in a generation. Through planning reforms, the New Homes Accelerator and New Towns, we're determined to deliver the homes that people need.
Not Blue Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome the Prime Minister's commitment to the violence against women and girls strategy, but I and many have concerns about stigmatising young boys, men and masculinity as inherently toxic, especially when suicide is the #1 killer for young men.
You're making
it about time
you're conflating
that we have
this.
a minister for men and boys, because this is about women.
Masculinity
and men,
isn't
not
toxic
women
in itself.
or men.
Toxic masculinity is toxic. Fuck
Thank you for
me.
his support on what we're doing on violence against women and girls. Can I also agree with him that this isn't about women or men or boys or girls? It's about both. And that's why I was very pleased to bring forward our men's health strategy, one of the first of its sort, to deal with the challenges that young men in particular, in my view, have growing up, particularly with social media, but also to go further on the question of suicide. And I know that that's something that the whole House is prepared to work together on, and quite right too.
Caroline Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As trade envoy to New Zealand, last year I visited Eden Park in Auckland to hear their exciting plans to bring the Edinburgh tattoo to New Zealand. Well, next month that plan becomes a reality, and one of Scotland and the UK's greatest military displays will be taking place in Auckland. This spectacular event is testament to the exciting and successful trading relationship between the UK and New Zealand. Will the Prime Minister join me in congratulating and thanking everyone who's made this a reality?
Can I thank her for raising that, because the Royal Edinburgh military tattoo is absolutely brilliant, as anybody who's seen it will attest, and I'm so pleased that it's heading to New Zealand, and I think it's another example of Scotland's unique contribution to our international image, our culture and tourism, and I think we all wish them the very best of luck in their performance, and I know it'll be very well received.
Timothy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The police fabricated intelligence to get Israelis banned from Villa Park, as demanded by Islamists. It's not an isolated case.
That's not what
Forces cut
happens.
deals with dodgy mosques and refuse to arrest preachers who incite violence. The CPS uses the Public Order Act as an Islamic blasphemy law. In prison, governors do deals with Islamists to maintain order, and we all know about the rape gangs. So will the Prime Minister launch a review of the corruption of our criminal justice system by Islamists and the politics of communalism?
Prime Minister.
Well, I disagreed, as he knows, with the decision of the West Midlands Police, and the Home Secretary will be making a statement in relation to it today. Mr. Speaker, the Home Secretary used to have power to remove Chief Constables. That power was stripped by the 2011 Police Reform Act. The honourable member knows who was making decisions in the Home Office at the time. It was him, working for Theresa May, that stripped that power away.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and a belated Happy New Year. But for the 4.8 million leaseholders across England, it's not a Happy New Year. They're going to be receiving large bills in a matter of weeks. They've been waiting patiently for us as a new government, a government that said we were going to deliver that change, to bring forward the legislation on leasehold and commonhold. So I want to ask the Prime Minister, when will we see that legislation so that we can put those leaseholders out of their misery?
Well, can I thank her for raising this really important issue, and we are bringing forward proposals very shortly now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 35,000 children, including my constituent Clover, live with uncontrolled, life-threatening epilepsy. Those who can afford it are already benefiting from prescribed medical cannabis, yet families face endless delays, confused trials, and a Home Office process designed for criminal misuse, not healthcare. Will the Prime Minister meet with me and affected families to move paediatric medical cannabis out of Home Office control, create a pathway for proper trials and NHS access, and ensure that all children with life-threatening epilepsy get the care they deserve, regardless of their family circumstances?
Well, can I thank you for raising the case of Clover? NHS England and the National Institute of Health and Care Research recently agreed funding for 2 world-first clinical trials relating to the use of cannabis-based products. This could help see medicines more routinely available in the NHS, and I'll make sure that she gets the meeting that she wants with the relevant minister to discuss what else we're doing.
Hello, Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The people I represent are fed up with Southern Water, from sewage to broken pipes and water outages, even on Christmas Day. In November, millions of plastic beads washed up on our beaches, and we discovered they'd come from a Southern Water treatment plant. I'm now campaigning for water companies to stop using this outdated plastic bead method and bin the beads. We're really concerned about the impact on wildlife, and we have a massive clean-up operation on our hands. Over 5,000 people have already supported my campaign with Sussex Wildlife Trust. Will the Prime Minister join me in sharing his horror at this dereliction of duty from Southern Water and calling on them to face the full force of the law for this terrible pollution incident?
Can I credit her with helping expose this scandal and working with her and everyone in her community, volunteering to clean up the beaches? That is the very best of who we are. But people are right to be furious that for far too long water companies were allowed to get away with polluting our seas and beaches. The Environment Agency are leading a full investigation, but we are more generally ending unfair bonuses for polluting water bosses, abolishing Ofwat and introducing tougher penalties, holding companies to account.
Then a message objected.
Mr. Speaker, ahead of the forthcoming consultation on local government reorganisation, last month Huntingdonshire District Council voted for option E, a Huntingdonshire Unitary Council. This was a cross-party view, and the Prime Minister's own Labour councillors voted in favour of it. There is a suspicion locally that the government favours option D, proposed by the Labour Eastern Regional Office, which would see Huntingdonshire and my constituency split in two and combined with Peterborough. Can the Prime Minister offer assurances to my constituents and those across Huntingdonshire that the decision isn't already a done deal and that the democratic will of Huntingdonshire District Council won't be overridden to satisfy an unelected Labour regional office?
Prime Minister.
There are no done deals here. We're going through the proper process.
Terminer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The staff at West Herts Teaching Hospitals Trust, which operates Watford General in my constituency, have been very busy bees. They have recently won Trust of the Year and Performance Recovery at the 2025 Health Service Journal Awards. Will the Prime Minister join me in congratulating the amazing team at Watford General and thank them for all the hard work that they have done to achieve this admirable accolade? Imagine what further achievements that they will make when they have their new hospital and new facilities.
I will join him and thank the staff in his hospital, but also the NHS staff across the country who worked so hard over Christmas and New Year, which is notoriously a difficult time.
That completes Prime Minister's questions. Let the front benches change over.
Okay, there was no fireworks there once the main event was over. It was all a bit of a done deal, I think. Once again, we had this spectacle where Kemi Badenoch should have just absolutely wiped the floor with Keir Starmer, but Keir Starmer was there knowing exactly what questions she was going to ask. Before she'd even stood up, he had his answers prepared. He had his comebacks prepared. He said, if she says this, say this. If she says that, say that. And he did it. And although one of the questions was put through quite well, the one where I stopped it at the end, number 6, where she listed all his U-turns, she just didn't stick the landing. She just said at the end of it, why didn't you quit? Why didn't you not be the leader anymore? That was a shit question. I don't want to know that. I don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? I'm not playing party politics. Right. Although, for me personally, I would like to see another leader come along before the next election, right? It's not a matter of fucking urgency. There's people waiting for 36 hours in fucking A&E. There's people waiting 4 hours for a fucking ambulance to turn up. The roads are falling apart. The bridges are falling apart. The schools are falling apart. The hospitals are falling apart. They've got a madman in America fucking shooting civilians, innocent civilians on the street, shooting them for being in the way. We've got a madman in bloody Moscow who's invaded a neighbouring country that's costing our continent fucking billions every day, that he continues this fucking war of attrition in which he's just killing thousands and thousands of Russians, and not Russians, people from all over the place that he buys or fools, tricks into joining the front line. We've got all these issues going on right now, all of them. We've got the economy is in a fucking state because we left the EU. And the question she asked is, why don't you resign? Why don't you resign? I mean, the first question was, she went, oh, you've U-turned again about mandatory IDs, which we've objected to since the start, she said. And they said, how about you get it right first time? What the fuck? She's supposed to be leader of the opposition. She's supposed to be giving advice to the Prime Minister. She's supposed to be asking him fucking questions about the future direction of this country. Why didn't you get him right first time? That is a question for one of Starmer's own lot to say to him, one of his own MPs, one of his own cabinet members to say to him, why don't we get it right first time? He's not for the leader of the opposition. Like, who gives a fuck? What a waste of a question. And then she talked about the inheritance tax, and she wanted an apology for changing tack on the inheritance. Not even changing tack, just putting the threshold up. To which, Starmer just battered it away. He just went, we're still doing it. We just raised the threshold. And she said, I want an apology. I want an apology for people who sold their farms because they were going to have to pay this huge inheritance tax. Anyone? Was there someone? Was there someone that happened to? She should have gone in, all guns blazing. I can't, if I was a Tory MP, mate, I'd just be, well, if I was a Tory MP, I'd be living in a big mansion somewhere, wouldn't I? With my feet up on a servant. But yeah, I'm not. But I mean, if I was a member of their fucking party, I would be cringing so bad. They'll put me back out. Ivan, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Continuing from your post earlier about MPs not being mental health professionals, so many MPs need more training in this area so they can help constituents correctly. Yeah, I think you're right, Ivan, and I think it's more to do with not necessarily. I don't think they're ever going to be in a position where they can give the people who come to them with mental health issues the support that they need. Because, as an individual, because they're not trained to do that, they're an MP. I mean, most MPs are fucking morons as well. I did say earlier, they're not trained psychologists, not trained psychiatrists, not trained therapists, whatever. But, a lot of them are fucking morons. I mean, that's not beat around the bush here. I've met a few MPs, and they're not all, startling towers of intellect by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, Ivan, I agree that they should have numbers to call, people they can get in touch with to help for different situations. And I think just having a little bit more mental health awareness would be a good thing. This is explained so well. If I just give the example of my partner, Catherine, right? So she's deaf. And if people don't know how to behave around someone who's deaf, generally they make things difficult for her. So for instance, She can't understand what someone's saying. And so what they do is they speak really clearly like this, moving their mouths around, thinking that's going to be easier for her to understand. And it's not. It's actually harder for her to understand. Because most people don't make exaggerated shapes with their mouths when they speak. Or they'll lean and try and talk straight into her ear. But she needs to see your lips in order to hear what you're saying. But she says, I'm deaf, so people shout in her ear, which is no good. Now, look, I'm not dissing these people because you just don't know, right? I'm just saying, if you'd had a little bit of training to be like, if you meet a deaf person and they lip read, stand in front of them, make sure you don't have a bright light behind you, and, talk normally. Unless you've got a really, really strong Dundee accent, and then you might have to modulate your accent a little bit. Give them half a chance. But yeah, so yeah, if anyone from Dundee who I'm offended by saying that, but yeah, anyone with a really, really strong regional accent, that can be a little bit tricky. But yeah, that's just an example. There are loads more. And all it is telling people, see you later. It's all it is just telling people once, you need to tell them once, like if someone comes and they've got this particular mental health problem, issue, or, that they are made in such a way, whatever it is, right? This is what you can do, and this is what you're not to do. You don't say to someone who's depressed, you don't say, "Oh, pull yourself together." But that's the worst thing you can say to people. Or someone's been diagnosed with cancer. Do not say, "Oh, have you tried juice? Have you tried some crackpot remedy that doesn't work?" I mean, people who've got cancer, they're facing down their mortality. And you'll come along saying, "Hey, have you thought about having an orange smoothie?" If orange smoothies cure cancer, there'll be no cancer. Do you know what I mean? Oh my God, you're the first person to think of that. Well done. So yeah, maybe that should be it. Like maybe there's when you're in a public facing role, you're given a little card, and it says, if someone comes along and they have this particular issue, don't say this, don't say that, don't be a twat, and give them some support in that. There are people who can help. Give them organisations that can help, and say, I want the best for you. So yeah, good point. Good point. Well made, Ivan. I think that's very true. Ivan, I wish in an ideal world that MPs had more real world experience, but they don't, I'm afraid. Too many from sheltered upbringings. Yeah. Labour are better at that, I think, in general, than the Tories, and definitely than Reform. I mean, Reform are just a fucking bubble, a spunk bubble. It's just most people not knowing how to empathise, to be honest. Because I know to a certain extent, Robert, but then I think just having a list of do's and don'ts kind of helps, because people have got a lot of things going on, and you're trying to be as empathetic as possible. I mean, if you're dealing with a deaf person, and you have some empathy, then that's when you'll start doing things that might actually make the situation more difficult for the deaf person to understand what you're saying. I don't know. As someone who couldn't hear for 5 months last year, I honestly can say just speak normally so I stand a chance of lip reading with my limited experience. Yeah, Martin, you're absolutely right. Oh, that's what Kat tells me. Just talk normally. Don't talk, and certainly never talk to someone who has any disability whatsoever like they're a fucking moron. People do this a lot. So they'll do it to deaf people because they'll over-articulate each word, but they also do it to people who are Down syndrome, who, you can talk to people who are Down syndrome like a normal person. You don't have to over-articulate all your words to them. You don't have to talk to them like they're a child, and it's quite insulting when people do that. So yeah, don't. So it's just little things like that. People think they're being helpful. It's like, maybe it should be just a card to just general life as well. Don't ask someone why they haven't got kids. Don't fucking unless they say, this is the reason. Don't say to them, you're going to have kids soon. Just to, you two getting married? No. Just if people want to volunteer that information, especially about kids, because that can be really, really hurtful for people. Like if someone just had a miscarriage or something, you don't know. And then when are you going to have kids, eh? Just don't avoid the topic. Avoid the topic unless they bring it up. Unless they bring up the fact that they really want kids and they're trying and, they're keeping their fingers crossed, whatever. Then, yeah, sure, talk about it. Fine. But otherwise, leave it. I think again, I'm going to get in trouble now. Because I'm just going to get the not all boomers animation up before I say this. But a lot of the older generation just really don't get this. Really, really don't get this. And tend to ask the most inappropriate questions of people. And it can be quite triggering. Yeah. Dr. before said, doesn't being an MP mean you can't really have a startling intellect, as folk who do tend to focus it on areas they're interested in, whereas MPs need more general knowledge and flexibility? I think you can have general knowledge and have a startling intellect. I think they're not mutually incompatible. I think that someone who wins University Challenge or Mastermind, that they've got a broad sweep of knowledge. It's general. I mean, but the old phrase is better to be a jack of all trades than a master of one. To be fair, Graham, those are the questions usually asked by your mum. My mum. It happens with autism too, Graham. I've experienced it. Yeah, Ivan. I was thinking about that when I was talking about the fact that, like, people talk to people who are autistic like they're stupid, like they're children. And it absolutely does my head in. Some of the most intelligent people that I know are autistic. It's like, why would you, what? But yeah, it is a thing that people do. But yeah, I mean, just being able to have some sensitivity training. And I know that the right hate that idea that the right don't want anyone to be sensitive. They don't want any men to be in touch with their feminine side. Oh God, that makes me so angry. You don't want any men to admit that they're ill or they need help or whatever, driving men into worse situations. And this Tory standing up today and saying, "Oh, we need a minister for men." No, we fucking don't. There's already we've had 1 million ministers for men. Every minister we've ever fucking had has been a minister for men. But what we do need is a coordinated effort by the government and by local authorities, by law enforcement, to stop people like Andrew Tate from drawing in young, impressionable boys and turning them into monsters, turning them into absolute fucking monsters. Maybe that's what he meant by having a minister for men. But yeah, it does smack a little bit of like, when's International Men's Day? Well, it's November the 19th, but also it's every day. Memories of annoying uncles and aunts asking, "Are you courting?" Yes, even in working class Shepherd's Bush. Also, when are you getting married, having children? Yeah. I'm too old for that now. I don't get that anymore. It's great. You get to a certain age, people stop fucking asking. Thank you. What was it? To be fair, Graham, those are questions you just about your mum. I read that one. I would argue that Kemi Badenoch was a minister for men while being called a minister for women. Indeed. Being gay in a broadly conservative family makes this even more difficult. Yeah, exactly. Well, I just a bit of sensitivity training. A chance for people who work for companies or work with customer-facing roles to just understand that everyone's a bit different, and if someone comes in and they have a particular issue, it's really important that you communicate as clearly as you can. And I don't see why with the technology we have now, anyone should have any problem with communicating with someone who is disabled. And the fact that we do still, have these barriers that are put in place that just do not need to be there. Especially like conferences. I mean, the Labour Party conference is the one that I'll go to because I was just horrified to see there was no subtitles anywhere, and you couldn't get on the fucking internet to you literally could not get on the fucking internet for the to use Google Transcribe. So what can you do? Empathy is right-wing kryptonite because they have to see what awful people they are. That's pretty true. And Ernie, Diz says they don't like mirrors. Absolutely. Anyway, so you go back to the question. So the first question was about agree to get it right first time. Okay, whatever. The second one was about farm inheritance tax. Are you going to apologise to the farmers? Like you're talking about maybe 10 people. Are you going to apologise to the 10 people? There's nearly 70 million people in this country, and she's like, will you apologise to these 10? I mean, I'm not saying that it's not something that maybe a backbencher could have brought this up. Maybe a backbencher could have said, this so-and-so in my particular constituency sold their farm because of what you said. Are you going to apologise to Brian or Jeff or whatever his fucking name is, right? What that would have been more sensible. The Tories got together and said, okay, you asked that one. The next one was about the budget doubling the business rates for pubs. To which Starmer, he knew he was going to be asked about this, and he pulled out the fact that 7,000 pubs closed down under the Tories, which they did. The Tories make a fucking terrible job, so they're not one to talk about it. But I think here is one of the big problems that we're having at PMQs at the moment, and it doesn't matter whether it's Kemi Badenoch or one of the greatest rhetorical voices of all time. It could be fucking Christopher Hitchens leading the Tories at the moment, and they wouldn't really get much of a foothold because every time they say, "Oi, Labour, you've done this and it's shit," Labour can turn around and say, "Yeah, but you did it first and it was even shitter," and then sit down again. And that's what Starmer did on that one on pubs. And then the impact of Labour's own policies was the third one. The fifth one was about the economy. Don't attack Labour on the economy. What the fuck are you doing? Don't even mention it. Again, no matter who's in charge of the Tories at the moment, they were in charge for 14 years and the economy didn't grow that whole time they were in power. From 2007 to 2022, our GDP measured by dollars went from 3 trillion to 3 trillion. In 15 years, no growth. The Tories don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to the economy. Stay away from it. Stay away from it. But like, this is it. I mean, I suppose if they talk about policy, Starmer can stand up and go, well, you were worse. So this is why they maybe stick to the fucking bullshit about why don't you get it right? Why don't you sack yourself? Why don't you stand down? When are you going to get a grip? That's a great question. Oh, when are you going to get a grip? Yeah, I thought that that should have been an easy demolition for Kemi Badenoch. She should have just smacked it out of the fucking ballpark, but she didn't. She really didn't. That was quite embarrassing, actually. Ed Davey, 2 pertinent questions. 2 questions that really cut to what is going on in Britain right now that we're all concerned about. Not a minority, not like a tiny minority of people, but literally, this. He had 2 questions, and they're 2 things that affect everyone, absolutely everyone. One was on waiting times in NHS hospitals, in A&E, waiting times 12 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours. You know, people waiting on plastic chairs, people waiting in corridors. It's got worse in the last year. And he brought that up, made a really good point about it. And Starmer didn't really have a leg to stand on in his response. He just sort of wibbled on about the fact that, you know, this whole thing. I used to hate this when Boris Johnson used to do it all the fucking time. It's like, why don't you support us? Why don't you vote with us to enact these things? Because they're the opposition, you fucking dickheads. You know, it's just like, what? Why don't you do things differently? I'm sorry that it is that way, but I don't know. I'm sure if Labour were to let the Lib Dems put an amendment in, and then Labour decided to vote with the Lib Dems, but I don't know. Unless you're going to change the whole system, I think it's a bit of a daft rebuttal of anything that the Lib Dems say. It's like, you didn't vote with us for our budget. Why would they fucking vote for your budget? It's your fucking budget, you dickheads. Anyway, but the second question was something, again, that affects us all. So the NHS was the first question. The second question was about water companies and the fact that water companies are failing each and every one of us with our insanely high rates that we're paying for our water and the shite service that they are providing. So yeah, it just shows like nearly every single one of the things that the Tories were whinging about affected a minority of people, a small minority of people, who are very loud and very, you know, they're well organised. And, you know, you look at the big pub companies, you look at the big farmers, the big, what's it called? The big, you know, landowners and things. They've got loads of fucking money, haven't they? Got loads of fucking money. But, yeah, Ed Davey managed to ask 2 sensible questions. And I wish he was just the leader of the opposition. He'll have Starmer on the ropes every day. Just by asking him sensible, reasoned questions. He's the only one last week who said anything about Trump being a fucking gobshite, didn't he? But they don't care about people hurting. They like that that's a feature, not a bug. Yes, it's not enough for them to win. Everyone else has to lose. That is their attitude. The problem is the Speaker picks the amendments, not the government, and due to time, the Speaker prioritises the Conservative offering. That's true. International Women's Day is also International Men's Day Day. It's November the 19th, I think. Yeah, 15 years of no growth, but the debt went up, says Andy. Yep, the cost of living went up. That went up fucking loads. The price of getting on the housing ladder, that went up. House prices went fucking massively up. Did wages go up? Did they fuck? But the water CEOs are getting massive wages. They absolutely are. Says Andy. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Okay, so we need to sort out the situation with the bloody water company. The problem is we can't just privatize. Fuck that. We can't just nationalize it like they're doing with the trains, because these companies have got so much fucking work to do, and Labour don't want to dump the money that it's going to cost us to do all this remedial work on the taxpayer. So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They need to bring in tougher laws and make sure that everyone working for these fucking water companies is basically not paid unless they do what needs to be done, instead of walking off with huge bonuses. If a vampire swallowed something like spinach, they'll see it sitting in their stomach. What? Haven't used a mirror to shave for years. I have fingers that can feel. I don't need to see my ugly mug first thing in the morning, says Martin. I only shave when I absolutely have to. I fucking hate shaving. Jesus, what a pain in the ass. Anyway, right. So I'm gonna fuck off now. Thanks very much for watching PMQs with me. Did we learn anything? Did we learn anything? Did we fuck? But you know, that's just the way it is. When I've been saying about this police chief in the Midlands in Birmingham who didn't allow this football event that was going to go ahead and allow the supporters to come from Maccabi Tel Aviv. He's being questioned at the moment in Parliament, and he said that he used AI used in the justification for banning Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. That's not good, is it? Maybe he will end up going. I don't know. When is International Complete Prick Day? Says Ernie Burns. Every day that Donald Trump is president of the United States of America. Every day. Every day. Anyway, I can't stand shaving, says Robot King. I always sit down to do it. No, sorry, it gives me a rash. Yeah, I get a rash as well. That's why I hardly ever do it. I just have a trim. Just have a trim. Anyway, so don't get us started on garlic. So start garlic. Okay. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back at 6 o'clock when we're diving down the rabbit hole with me and Rachel Harris. So please join us for that. And what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be doing our own little version of Room 101. And we'll be encouraging you to take part in it. So please join us for that. 6 o'clock. Anything but politics here on Politics Social. And don't forget, you can't join the chat unless you're already subscribed to the channel. So please do that at some point. But police forces have football intelligence teams. They use the fact they use AI is disgraceful. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know too much about it. I've only read the headline. It might have been like in the statement that they gave out or whatever. They used a bit of AI text. I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, but all you need to know is these fans were banned from a match in Israel for being thugs in Israel. So unless the Israeli authorities are also anti-Semitic, I don't think this is anti-Semitism. But there you go. See you at 6. Until then, thanks for the super chats. Thanks for watching. And until next time, give us a like on the way out. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.